Welcome everyone and thank you for joining us today because we are diving into one of the most fascinating and surprising stories in the world of rare coins, the story of the 1975 1 cent coin that has shocked collectors and investors by carrying a potential value of $19 million. A coin that at first glance looks like an ordinary penny that most people would overlook in pocket change but is actually a hidden treasure because of the errors and mistakes that make it one of the most desirable coins in numismatic history. And today we will walk through every possible reason why such a small copper coin could command such a staggering price, how those errors occurred, what possibilities surround its existence, why it is rare, and what makes collectors and historians place such a huge value on it. So sit tight as we unravel layer after layer of this captivating tale. When we talk about the 1975 D penny, we must first understand the context of its minting. Struck at the Denver Mint with the D Mint mark, during a period when the United States Mint was still producing 1-cent coins made mostly of copper, 95% copper and 5% zinc, and because of high mintages, most pennies from that year are very common and worth only face value. But it is precisely in such years with massive production that mistakes can slip through the cracks, and sometimes those mistakes transform an ordinary coin into a multi-million-dollar treasure. The story of this 1975 D cent worth $19 million is tied to the errors and unique varieties that surfaced from that year, and collectors began to notice strange inconsistencies in the strike, in the lettering, in the mint mark placement, and even in the composition, sparking debates about whether these were random anomalies or intentional test pieces that escaped the mint. One of the most discussed errors involves the doubling effect seen on the obverse, where Abraham Lincoln's profile appears to have been struck twice or shifted slightly, creating what is known as a double die, and in coin collecting a strong double die can turn a penny into a fortune, as seen with the famous 1955 double die cent, and so when a 1975 D cent displays doubling on Lincoln's face, his eye, or even the inscriptions like, "In God We Trust," or "Liberty," it becomes an instant target for collectors chasing rarity. Another mistake that makes this coin incredibly valuable is related to the mint mark itself, the small d representing Denver, because during the 1970s mint marks were punched onto the dies by hand, and slight variations could occur, such as a repunched mint mark where the d appears doubled, tilted, or overlapping. And when these varieties occur in combination with other striking anomalies, the coin becomes exceptionally scarce, pushing its value higher. There are also possibilities of off-center strikes in 1975 D cents, where the coin was not aligned properly during striking and part of the design is missing, exposing blank planchet areas, and the further off-center it is while still showing a full date and mint mark, the more valuable it becomes, sometimes reaching hundreds of thousands of dollars, and in the case of this legendary $19 million coin, speculation suggests it may combine multiple rare errors into one specimen, such as a double die, a repunched mint mark, and an off-center strike, a trifecta of rarity almost never seen in circulation. Beyond striking errors, some 1975 D cents are rumored to have been struck on the wrong planchets, such as foreign coins or dime stock, resulting in a penny that is lighter or thinner than usual, and these wrong planchet errors are extraordinarily valuable because they represent mistakes in the minting process where blanks for other coins were accidentally fed into the penny presses, and collectors view these as once-in-a-lifetime finds. The possibility of transitional errors also plays into the legend of the 1975 D cent, with whispers that experimental planchets or unique metal mixes were tested and accidentally released, making some examples weigh differently or tone in unusual ways, fueling speculation that one specific piece became the crown jewel of errors, thus explaining why a single 1975 D cent could reach the unbelievable value of $19 million in private sales or auctions. To understand the appeal of such a coin, you have to step into the world of collectors where rarity, condition, and story all combine to create value, and in the case of this 1975 D cent, not only do we have minting errors and anomalies but also the mythos of a coin that almost shouldn't exist, yet does, carrying with it the mystery of how it escaped the mint, how it survived circulation, and how it eventually landed in the hands of someone who recognized its significance. Many ordinary people might dismiss a penny as worthless, but collectors know that small details like a doubled inscription, a shifted mint mark, or a planchet error can be the difference between 1 cent and millions of dollars, and that's why this coin is so captivating. Imagine someone picking up change at a grocery store, seeing a worn brown penny, and unknowingly holding $19 million in their hand, only to toss it into a jar without realizing its true worth. This is the magic and mystery of rare coins. Over the years, stories of the 1975 D cent have spread through collector communities, auctions, and even rumors in numismatic journals, with whispers of private sales involving astronomical sums, and while not every detail can be confirmed, the legend grows stronger with every telling, as more and more experts speculate on the combination of factors that make this coin the holy grail of errors. Its value is not only tied to the physical mistakes it carries but also to the historical context of the mid-1970s, a time when the mint faced technical changes, equipment wear, and experimental adjustments, all of which could have contributed to the creation of unique error coins that slipped past quality control. And when you factor in the survival rate, with most pennies being heavily circulated and damaged, finding a pristine 1975 D error cent is like discovering a needle in a haystack, which is why collectors are willing to pay millions for the opportunity to own one. The $19 million price tag may seem absurd at first, but when you consider the principles of rarity, desirability, and collector demand, it becomes more understandable, because in the numismatic world, there is no limit to what a unique and legendary coin can fetch at auction if two or more wealthy bidders compete for it. Imagine two determined collectors, both billionaires, fighting to add the 1975 D cent with a combination of errors to their collection, driving the price higher and higher until it reaches that astonishing $19 million mark, proving that value is not just about metal content but about history, rarity, and human desire. This is the fascinating part of coin collecting, where a humble penny, struck almost half a century ago, can become a symbol of wealth, rarity, and luck, and its story continues to inspire treasure hunters, reminding people everywhere to check their change carefully, because you never know when a fortune might be hiding in plain sight. The tale of the 1975 D penny also teaches us about the fragile and unpredictable nature of minting processes, how human error or mechanical misalignment can create something extraordinary, and how those little mistakes can turn into history-making artifacts. And as collectors search for surviving examples, the excitement only grows, with more and more people scouring their coin jars and old collections in hopes of stumbling upon one of these mythical pieces. The possibility that there are still undiscovered specimens out there fuels a sense of adventure, almost like a modern-day treasure hunt, and that is why this coin holds such power in the imagination of collectors and historians alike. Whether it's doubling in the inscriptions, misplaced mint marks, off-center strikes, wrong planchets, or transitional anomalies, each error adds a layer of rarity, and when combined they form the perfect storm of value, elevating the 1975 D1 cent from a common copper penny to a $19 million marvel. So next time you come across a 1975 penny with a D mint mark, take a closer look, examine the details carefully, because hidden in those small imperfections could be the key to unimaginable fortune. And if this story has sparked your curiosity and excitement, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and join us on more incredible journeys into the world of rare coins and hidden treasures where history, luck, and passion collide to create stories that are worth more than gold. Next. Today we dive into one of the most fascinating, jaw-dropping, and surprising stories in the world of rare coins, the incredible tale of the 2005 D1 cent coin, a penny that despite being small in face value has become a centerpiece of attention in the numismatic community and beyond because of the extraordinary errors and mistakes that occurred during its minting process, transforming it from an ordinary copper-plated zinc coin worth just 1 cent into a piece that has shocked collectors and investors alike with a rumored value of up to $6 million, and in this deep exploration we are going to break down exactly what makes this little coin so special, the circumstances that brought about its unique characteristics, the kinds of mint errors that are believed to exist on it, why those errors are so significant, and the broader possibilities of how such mistakes can occur in the highly precise environment of the United States Mint, and more importantly, why collectors are willing to pay astronomical prices for these tiny slips in production. So sit back and immerse yourself because this is not just about a penny, it is about history, rarity, and the thrilling mystery that can hide in the palm of your hand when you least expect it. So let us start with the background. In 2005 the Denver Mint produced billions of pennies, most of them unremarkable, standard copper-plated zinc coins that circulated in everyday commerce, but in the ocean of ordinary cents, a few extraordinary examples slip through. And what separates them from the rest are the anomalies, the missteps in the minting process that created coins unlike any other, errors that could include double dies, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, broad strikes, die cracks, cuds, or even transitional errors, and when these mistakes occur they can catapult an ordinary cent into the stratosphere of value. And in the case of the 2005 D penny, certain examples have been reported with striking Doubling on the obverse lettering where the words Liberty and I and God We Trust appear with ghost-like doubling effects, giving the coin an eerie doubled outline, while other examples show reverse side doubling on the memorial building lines or lettering such as 1 cent in United States of America, and doubling is one of the most sought-after errors because it can be clearly seen with the naked eye and proves a deviation from the norm. Then there are coins reported with dramatic off-center strikes where the design of the penny is pushed far from the center, leaving blank spaces of metal on the coin surface, a striking visual that instantly signals an error, and collectors love such dramatic mistakes because they are so clearly distinguishable from normal coins. But even more intriguing are tales of 2005 D pennies struck on the wrong planchet, meaning they were mistakenly struck on blanks intended for other denominations like dimes, nickels, or even foreign coins, and when this happens, the penny design appears squished or incomplete on a smaller or larger piece of metal, a true rarity that can skyrocket value. And another key error associated with 2005 D pennies is the occurrence of broad strikes where the retaining collar that normally holds the coin in place during striking is missing or malfunctioning, causing the coin to spread out and lose its usual rim, creating an unusual oversized penny with a stretched appearance, making it highly desirable. Not to mention that die cracks and cuds also appear on some examples. These are raised lines or blobs of metal that result from the breakdown of the dies used to strike coins, giving each affected coin a unique fingerprint since no two die cracks are identical, which adds to their collectability, and sometimes dramatic die breaks create major raised lumps on the surface of the coin, making them instantly valuable. But what makes the 2005 D penny particularly captivating is not just a single type of error but the possibility of multiple overlapping mistakes, for instance a double die error on an off-center strike or a broad strike with die cracks, and when such combinations occur the rarity level jumps exponentially, explaining why some of these coins have been valued in the millions, because they are one-of-a-kind treasures. And while the average 2005 D penny is still only worth a cent, those with severe and unique errors stand as monuments to the fallibility of even the most advanced minting processes. And when collectors, historians, and investors hear about these $6 million valuations, it is not just the metal content they are buying, it is the story, the rarity, the chance to own a piece of history that stands apart from billions of its siblings, the penny that should never have been but exists nonetheless, sparking wonder and bidding wars. And to understand why errors like this occur, we need to look at the minting process itself, where blanks are fed into presses at high speed, dies come down to impress the designs, collars hold everything in place. But when any part of this delicate dance falters, mistakes can result. A misaligned die can cause doubling, a broken die can create cracks, a missing collar can allow broad strikes, the wrong blank can cause a wrong planchet strike, and with millions of coins produced per day, even a tiny lapse can yield dozens or hundreds of errors, but only a few escape quality control to reach circulation, making them extremely scarce. And when you consider that most people never check their pocket change closely, the idea that one of these $1 million errors could be sitting in a jar or drawer unrecognized is thrilling, fueling treasure hunting among coin enthusiasts who dream of striking it rich with a single lucky find. And in the numismatic market, rarity plus demand equals astronomical value. So when a 2005 D penny with multiple dramatic errors comes up for sale, bidders from around the world compete, driving the price into the millions. And there have been auction stories of rare pennies with less dramatic errors selling for tens of thousands, so it is not hard to imagine how an extremely unique 2005 D penny with spectacular mistakes could achieve a valuation as high as $6 million, especially when wealthy collectors are involved, because for them, the uniqueness is priceless. And as we explore further, we must consider the psychological factor too. Humans are drawn to anomalies, too, things that stand out from the ordinary, and when it comes to coins, errors represent tangible proof that perfection is elusive even in a system designed for precision, and that sense of imperfection is ironically what makes them perfect collectibles, because they tell a deeper story of process, failure, and rarity. And for the 2005 D penny, its errors are not just mistakes, they are history stamped in metal, frozen in time, never to be repeated, and so collectors chase them with passion, willing to pay sums that seem unfathomable for such a tiny object. But this is the magic of numismatics, where a cent can be worth millions, where a slip in the mint becomes a treasure, and where the ordinary transforms into the extraordinary. And as we close this journey through the world of the 2005 D 1-cent coin and its $6 million mystique, remember that the next time you hold a penny in your hand, it may not just be a coin for spending, it might be a rare gem waiting to be discovered. So keep your eyes sharp, your curiosity alive, and who knows, maybe you too could stumble across one of these legendary errors, and if you enjoyed diving into this fascinating world of rare coin treasures, make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and stay tuned for more incredible stories from the hidden world of numismatics that will leave you amazed at the secrets lurking in your everyday change. Today we are diving into one of the most fascinating and jaw-dropping stories from the world of rare coins, a story that shows how something so small, so ordinary, and so overlooked like a 1989 1-cent coin could end up being worth an unbelievable $13 million because of its unique errors, mistakes, and the incredible possibilities that surround it. And while most people pass by pennies without a second thought or even leave them behind at the counter, the truth is that sometimes those very coins that seem to have the least value can hide secrets that make them more valuable than luxury cars, houses, or even some fortunes, and that is exactly why collectors, historians, and treasure hunters alike are fascinated by coins like the 1989 1-cent, which has become a legend in numismatic circles due to the mistakes that were made during its minting. So let's begin by unpacking what makes this ordinary year stand out from others and why the 1989 cent can bring so much money if you are lucky enough to find one in the right condition, because errors on coins are not always obvious. They can be subtle, hidden in the design, in the metal, in the strike, and yet those subtle details are exactly what makes the difference between a penny worth just 1 cent and one that could change your life forever. And when it comes to the 1989 1 cent, collectors have pointed to several types of errors that have been discovered over time, each with its own story and its own impact on the value of the coin, starting with double die errors, one of the most famous and sought-after mistakes in coin minting history, which occur when the die used to strike the coin has been impressed twice or slightly misaligned, leading to a doubling effect on the letters, numbers, or design details. And for 1989 cents, examples have been found where the motto, "In God We Trust," or the date, 1989, itself shows signs of doubling, which immediately skyrockets the value of such a piece because collectors view double dies as treasures that are both visually striking and historically significant. Then we also have off-center strikes, which are another type of error where the coin blank is not properly aligned with the dies and ends up being struck off-center, leaving part of the design missing and part of the blank surface visible. And in the case of the 1989 cent, off-center errors can range from slight shifts that are interesting but common, to dramatic misalignments where more than 50% of the design is missing, and the more dramatic the error the more valuable the coin becomes, sometimes fetching tens of thousands at auctions depending on condition and rarity. And then there are broad strike errors where the coin is struck without the retaining collar in place, causing it to spread out wider than normal, giving it a distinctive look that is instantly recognizable to collectors who are always on the hunt for such unique pieces. And let's not forget about die cracks, cuds, and clips. Small but significant flaws that can transform an ordinary cent into a high-demand rarity. Die cracks being the raised lines that appear when the die itself cracks during striking, cuds appearing when part of the die breaks off leaving a blob-like shape on the coin, and clips resulting from mistakes in cutting the blank so that part of the coin is missing in a curved or straight section. All of these being errors documented on Lincoln cents across many years and making the 1989 cents with such flaws highly desirable. But beyond these mechanical errors there is also the matter of mint mark variations, because 1989 cents were struck at different mints like Philadelphia and Denver, and sometimes a repunched mint mark error occurs where the mint mark is struck more than once in slightly different positions, leading to a collectible rarity. And these variations are the kind of details that dedicated numismatists spend years studying and cataloging, and when such a coin surfaces at an auction, the bidding wars can drive the value up into the millions, as has been rumored with certain 1989 examples. And it is this mixture of rarity, condition, and collector demand that leads to the mind-boggling valuation of $13 million for a single 1-cent piece. A valuation that seems impossible at first glance but makes sense when you realize the unique convergence of circumstances that make coins like this so special, because in the world of collectibles it is not just about the face value, it is about the story, the mistake, the rarity, and the desire of collectors to own a piece of history that no one else has. And when a 1989 cent with dramatic errors is certified by grading agencies and comes to market, it can become a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for buyers, with people willing to spend fortunes just to add it to their collection. And while most 1989 cents you find in your pocket change are just worth a cent or maybe a few dollars if they are in pristine condition, the possibility that one could be hiding in plain sight with a rare error is what excites collectors and makes everyday people check their pennies carefully, because who wouldn't want to stumble upon a coin that turns out to be worth more than a luxury mansion? And that is the magic of numismatics, where attention to detail, patience, and knowledge can lead to discoveries that completely change lives. And if we think about the sheer number of 1989 cents minted, numbering in the billions, it seems overwhelming to imagine finding that one rare piece, but the fact that mistakes happen in the minting process and that those mistakes slip through into circulation means the possibility is always there, and history has shown us that coins once thought to be common can suddenly become highly valuable when a rare variation or error is discovered, creating legends like the 1955 double die cent or the 1943 copper cent, both of which are worth hundreds of thousands or millions today, and the 1989 cent fits right into this tradition, offering a chance for discovery that fuels the dreams of collectors worldwide, and what makes it even more fascinating is that the $13 million valuation is not just about the physical coin but about the competition and desire among wealthy collectors who see owning such a piece as a symbol of status, knowledge, and passion, meaning that when such a coin comes to auction it is not unusual for bidding to soar beyond logical expectations, driven by the hunger to possess something irreplaceable. And that is why, even though it seems unimaginable that a penny could be worth so much, in the specialized world of rare coins it makes perfect sense, and as we reflect on this story it is a reminder that value is often hidden in the smallest of places, that what we ignore every day might secretly hold treasures, and that with patience, research, and a bit of luck, anyone could stumble upon a life-changing coin like the 1989 cent with its rare errors and mistakes. So always keep your eyes open, always check your change, and remember that history is hiding in your pocket. And thank you for joining us on this incredible journey into the story of the 1989 1-cent coin worth $13 million. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss more fascinating stories from the world of rare coins and hidden treasures.